Disconnected entered your channel.
Why, hello and welcome. After a little bit of a break for the F123 division, we are back now for the Chinese Grand Prix. And hold on, I need to adjust my settings because, of course, none of them are correct. Because why would they be? Alright. There we go. But we are back for the Chinese Grand Prix that should have happened 4 weeks ago, but only happened now. And obviously on the back of the incredible news that Lewis Hamilton is the winner of the Belgium Grand Prix, George Russell has been confirmed disqualified from the session. So some big news going into this race. And it shouldn't be a problem here. No one gets disqualified for having an underweight car in the F1 games. But yeah, incredibly huge news to start off the stream. But it's gonna be China for this weekend, and it's going to be me, myself, and I. Once again, I'm going to be alone doing the commentary for this race. So if there is a some silent parts, you know, don't blame it on me. Because I'm gonna be doing this alone, but hopefully I can bring you guys as good of commentary as I did in Canada and as I did in Abu Dhabi. We are going to be going around China, 15 corners, and very technical Sector 1, Sector 2, but then the long back straight of Sector 3 means that people will have to compromise their downforce if they do want a good result. We are waiting on Nick Fuhrman and Swampmouth to show up. Nick Fuhrman being a knob and deleting his game, thinking this was cancelled, but it wasn't. And Swampmouth nowhere to be found, so we are looking at 15 drivers. 15 drivers today, and we don't know about Cody or failing. They're both still TBC, so I would have to assume they aren't racing. As yeah, nothing much else, but we're gonna be sitting here for a while before the lobbies get started. Sim is gonna be obviously one in charge of that. He's gonna be hosting the lobby. Right. Lobby updated, I don't know what that's for. I have realized I've started the I started the stream a bit early. I cannot yap for this long without doing anything. So anyone in chat, if you have anything to say, say it now, because now I'm going to be looking at chat and reading chat. Hello, Dablo. During the race, I'm probably not going to be reading the chat as much. If there isn't like a safety car or something, or another boring period, is all the audio okay? Is the video fine? Everything should be alright, because I'm looking at the stats on my other monitor. But you'll never know. Swamp is awake. That is beautiful news. So we will get 16 drivers. As it stands right now. Do 16 obviously not the best, but alright, considering the game's a year old. More than likely that this will be the last season we run on F1 23, but again, anything can happen. Anything can happen in the world of FQ. 127 points now is the gap between Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen in the Drivers' Championship. We could be cooking. Audio's good, all is well. That is good to hear. Hello, Harrison. How are you doing today, mate? I would assume a hell of a lot better now that Lewis has won instead of George. We will be getting in Swampmouth shortly. And then Nicholas in the middle of qualifying. We will have all the front runners, Mew, Sammy Joe, and Jerome Hodgson. All three will be participating in this race. Jerome leads the championship. Someone leads the championship, that I'm sure of. Hold on. Who leads the championship? It's Mew leads the championship. From Jerome, from Rafa, from Sammy Joe, and from Joe, who missed Abu Dhabi. Something's going on in the chat about sleeping with Madison Beer. I don't know what it's about, but it is the most normal FQ chat you've ever seen. Hamilton, stand up. I am standing up right now, actually. I have my standing desk set to the standing level, because that's the best way to get my voice out whenever I do need to get those long sentences out about qualifying laps and possibly overtakes. Scope GG tells me my weekly highlight is ready. You know what? We're gonna watch it on stream. You know what? Fuck everyone. We're gonna watch this on stream. What's my weekly highlight? Hello? Oh, it's this. Oh, that's sad. Okay. Anyway, qualifying. Getting underway here in China. Does not look to be any rain. That's fine. Yes, okay. So, qualifying getting underway. Does not look to be any rain going or coming. And where do I not? There we go. Now I have games out again. So, the Alpha Tauri of Eco is going to be the first one to go out. Obviously, Alpha Tauri, we will not see that in the F124 stream because there is no Alpha Tauri on F124. They'll be looking to do well here in China. Alpha Tauri being struggling a little bit throughout the championship. This is, I believe, Eco's first race in this championship, round 3. Hopping in halfway, not bad. And obviously last week with the race getting cancelled as well, we are one stream or one. I'll need to up the audio still, but like we are one race behind on the F123 than we are on F124. So we'll need to figure that out at some point in the race as well, or in the season, how we're gonna spin that one. But it's going to be I cannot balance the audio. I'm gonna cry. Anyway. Eco then. China is a long lap with a big long back straight, so you need low wings, but the technical sectors 1 and 2 will bite you if you do not get a high downforce setup. So will be interesting to see what people go for. We are going to be on board with the first lap of the weekend with Eco in the Alpha Tauri. Going to be looking at the Alpha Tauri driver's lap on board with him as he heads now onto the main straight. DRS wide open. It is not wet, so DRS is enabled in qualifying, and in the race you have to be within a second of the car in front into the first turn. You have to be very patient around here. You blip the gas a little bit as well as the brakes. That looks very nice for Eco indeed, as he manages the car through quite nicely and heads onto the straight that ends sector 1. It is going to be a 24.460 for the first sector for Eco. He's going to get the car turned in nicely, get on the power early, and now this corner flat out in qualifying trim. Flat out, then onto the right-hander, quick right-hander to get back on the power, then it's onto this slow left-hander that you need to absolutely nail. Flat out through here onto the straight that ends sector 2, and now sector 3. These few corners and the long back straight hits the apex nicely. You can take a lot of that curb without spinning out here. And here goes Eco now onto the long back straight, and this is all flat out now. He's got 54% of his ERS left. Can't use overtake on this straight. It's not F124. But he will get into turn 14 here very shortly. Need to pick a braking point. Turn the car in. Hit the apex nicely. That's very nice for Eco. Get the power down. And now into the final corner of the racetrack. This has caught out a lot of people. First thing that comes to mind is Alexander Albon in 2019, where he hit the wall through that corner. It's a 133.2 for Eco then. Big Boris 133.8 goes a little bit behind the Alpha Tauri. Jerome Hudson goes fastest 131.9, and that's all last corner invalidation for Get Valkyried right as I followed him along, and he's not going to be happy about that one. Sammy Joe goes fastest with 131.5. Oh, Get Valkyried told me not to stop spectating him on his laps, because he can feel me looking through his skull. But Joe then, needs a good performance. Missed round 2. Mew goes faster than 1:31.0. That's 5/10 to the top of the standings. That's very impressive from the Polish driver. Here comes Joe now across the line. What can he do? He can go even 5/10 faster. That's a lap. 1:30.5 from Joe. Wow, what a banker. And that is incredibly incredible from Joe. I absolutely lost for the words with that one all day. 1:35.1 goes 9th fastest and slowest of anybody so far. But wow, I am still absolutely perplexed by that lap from Joe. I mean, a 0.5 as a banker. Oh my goodness, we're expecting pole to be somewhere within that mid-30s, and then Joe does it on his first lap. That's going to be extremely difficult to beat for anyone in the top 3. Or the top 5 even. And now we're watching the Alpine of Wacky Lauda make its way through this final straight, although he doesn't have his DRS open, which means he's probably not deploying that one. He's gonna go for his lap, I presume, right now. Yes, he is. Down the main straight then. DRS wide open, using all of his ERS into turn 1. Gets the car turned in nicely. We get possibly the worst camera angle I've ever seen as the Alpine dances its way through turns 1 and 2 now onto this straight here. And looking very, very nice for the Japanese driver as he heads into sector 1. That's a 24.063. He's purple in the first sector, a second up on his personal best so far. That was the second prep lap, obviously, but very, very good looking from Wacky Lauda so far. As into sector 2, the tight and twisty form of sector 2, and into this double left-hander that you need to nail to get a good exit onto the straight. This is one of the overtaking. My game fucking crashed. Oh my god. Oh man, that's fucking hilarious. Right, alright. Okay. Well, I guess we won't know what Wacky Lauda did in the end. The game just decided, no, you're not showing Wacky Laps today. That's fucking hilarious. That's what we call hilarious right there. Oh my goodness. Okay, I should be able to join through new Steam. Should we just... There we go, multiplayer China, join game. Boom. Wow. That's hilarious. I'm pretty sure I clicked spectate there. If I didn't... Whoops. There we go. There we are then. We are back for some more action. Wacky Lauda went 5th fastest with his lap time of 1:32.034. And we're just about getting the top 3 are on out laps for their second to do their second laps, and it's going to be Sami Joe first, the French driver. Hasn't had the best... He's gotten away with that. He's gone very, very wide in the final corner. He has gotten away with it. No invalidation somehow. But he's abandoned the lap into turn 1. Interesting. Simi on a lap, I believe. No? Yes? No? Something? No. Not on a lap, but has gone 7th fastest with 1:32.4. That is very, very nice for Simi indeed. And yeah, the French driver Sami Joe, as I was saying, not been that has been impressive throughout the season, but hasn't had the best start to a season. We know Sami has absolute pace when he wants it, and is absolutely rapid when he needs to be, but so far this season hasn't shown that, and will need to improve it if he does want to get back into the championship fight, as will this man, Joe, who missed Abu Dhabi and right now absolutely dominating the timing tables. 130.5 is 5/10 on provisional pole. And can he do that again? And from how close the grid has been in the first 2 races, he's a 10th up. He's a further 10th up is Joe, and that is nothing short of extremely impressive. He'll now get into Sector 2, this mighty tactical sector that he has to manage in that Mercedes, in Lewis Hamilton's Mercedes. Maybe it's a charm. Maybe it's a charm that he gets to drive Lewis's Mercedes. He's still half a 10th up, going into the final sector. Needs to nail it to go even further on the provisional pole. A 130.4 would basically seal this pole position already with 7 minutes to go in this qualifying session. As he heads down the back straight, you can see the Mercedes just flying along into the final 2 corners. Turn 14, a slow corner. You need to be very, very, very patient there on the throttle. We get this nice onboard of Joe as he heads into the final corner now. Not too wide at all. Can he improve and go even further on the pole position? Yes, he can, by only 3/100ths of a second, but it's an improvement. Mew is 3/10 down in his first sector and has abandoned the lap. Sami now starting his actual flying lap. He did 2 prep laps, remember, so he's burned off fuel and he's got the tires in the right working window through sector 2. What can the French driver do? He needs at least 5/10 to get onto the front row even. That is incredible. I mean, considering how close the grid has been, he's only 3/100ths up. He needs a lot of time in this final sector, considering how close the grid has been in the first 2 races. To have someone on pole by 5/10 of a second and a second to the 3rd fastest man is absolutely nuts. As Sami heads down the final straight now, he'll need to find half a second in this final corner to go back into P2, and he needs to find a second in it to go on to provisional pole. What can he do? A little bit sketchy throughout turn 14. Now needs to absolutely nail turn 15. The fast right-hander turns it in. Looks nice enough. What can Sami do? Can he get onto the front row? No, he can't. Only a 131.3. Mew has pitted. He's abandoned his lap. As Nick Fuhrman finally joins the session. And get Valkyried. I know you said you don't like me watching your laps, but we are going to watch your lap because you have just crossed the line, and we are going to be a full lap on board with the Alfa Romeo driver as he heads through turn 1. Oh, there's a McLaren a little bit in the way. That has not helped him at all, I believe. That's, well, it's one of the McLarens. I'm not quite sure which one it is. But that definitely hasn't helped the Alfa Romeo as he heads now into Sector 1. About a 10th down on his personal best. And we now... is there anyone else? Yeah, Cornish Mantis just starting a lap. So that was Dablo in the way of the Alfa Romeo. Might cop a little bit of a impeding penalty for that one. As Cornish Mantis just heading through those first corners. He's only a few hundredths behind Wacky Lauda and about a 10th behind Jerome Hardison. Only needs to find a little bit. Already up by 1.4 tenths is Cornish Mantis. So could he be looking to challenge the top 4 here in China? Could he be looking to get onto the front row or the second row even for McLaren? McLaren have been decent throughout the season, have been quite rock solid. Not the best performances, but also not the worst performances, as we now see him go through Sector 2. No DRS on this straight. He's purple in the middle sector. 2/10 up on his current time. Needs to find a lot more to be on the front row, and needs to find even more to be on provisional pole. But Cornish Mantis then, heading through the final straight. He's going to get a nice toe here. He doesn't actually choose to take the toe from the Williams, but should get a nice toe ahead from the AlphaTauri. Not the biggest toe you will see, but that is definitely going to affect his straight line speed. As yellows in Sector 3, that's just people letting others pass. That's Cornish Mantis now. 3:30 left in the session. What can he do on this latest lap. He's invalidating in the final corner. That's devastating. He would have gone. Mew's out. I believe Mew has retired from the session. Maybe knowing that Joe's pole time is absolutely unbeatable and being confident enough that he can stay on the front row. Jerome Hudson, the winner in Abu Dhabi and the pole sitter in Abu Dhabi. Could he pull off something similar, something magical here in China? He pulled off absolute magic back in Abu Dhabi and are now looking to do the same at China. He's 1.6 tenths up in the first sector. Needs to find a second. Needs to find over a second to contend with that lap time of Joe. Jerome Hudson now. Could he bring glory to Red Bull once again on the final stretches of qualifying? Last time it was against Williams. This time it's against Mercedes. Mercedes and Red Bull fighting each other, and Jerome has got no ERS. Interestingly, Jerome has got no ERS, so down this back straight, he'll lose time. He won't be able to finish this lap up time. I mean, that's incredibly interesting. He might have done a lap that he invalidated, and yeah, he's gonna abandon that lap. Don't know what thought Boris is there, but Stevie, we'll have Stevie back from back racing finally here in FQ in the Aston Martin this go around. We need to look at him for a little bit as he heads now through the final few corners. He's 10th fast at the moment. We'll want to be up that grid to minimize his chance of incidents and to score the most points he can after a slow start. Goes 8th fastest, 132.1. Simi's not on a lap. Dablo, I believe he's on a lap because that is he's on an out lap. Okay, he's on a prep lap. And Cornish Mantis out from the session that is in the pit lane. So he also thinks that his time is good enough to stay there and did not have time to set another lap. Now, Sami Jote in the Alpine, the French driver, looking to get onto the front row. He'll have to pull off something magical to finish on pole here, but he'll only need to improve by 0.3 of a second to get onto the front row. Now, the Alpine driver. We know he has more race pace than he has qualifying pace, but he would like to show everyone here that he is the fastest driver this league has to offer. He's only 500s up in the first sector, needs to find a lot more time in the middle and final sectors. The French driver needs a lot of time through this twisty technical middle sector as he dances the car around. Looks very, very nice indeed there as he heads now onto this straight here that doesn't have DRS, that maybe should have DRS to aid some overtaking. He's down on his time though and needs to find it all in this final sector, and Mew looking out from the garage, being happy that Sami is not up on his time because Mew wants to start on the front row. Who wouldn't want to start on front row? Sami looking to get onto that front row. Joe also on a lap, but Joe I believe has already sealed that front row. Sim is out from the session, he's out in 9th. As Sami now into the final few corners. Lap turn 14. Get the car turned in. Get early on power. That looks very nice indeed for the Frenchman. He has a lot of fuel on board. That might affect his lap time. Oh, in the final corner, Sami! Again, for a second qualifying session in a row. Sami's in a wall in the final corner. Joe is not improving, but he doesn't need to improve. He does not need to improve because Joe has pulled off one of the best pole laps you will ever see in FQ. 5/10 on his nearest rival, Joe, with absolute dominance here in China. Mercedes, absolute dominance. Still on the lap, we have no one. Okay, that is the end of qualifying. Ekoi is on. Oh, Nick's out on lap. Never mind. Nick Fuhrman in the other Mercedes. Can he match his teammate? It's a very high bar that's been set here. And it's raining on track. It's raining on track. So that might be why people haven't improved. But it is raining on track. It's raining. That's incredibly interesting as Nick now has one lap to set a time. And it's in the damp conditions. What can the Fuhrman do? 14th fastest. Not good enough for Mercedes, but the other Mercedes will be absolutely delighted with a 30.5. Wow. It's absolutely incredible from Joe. Absolutely incredible. Now, let me just read through my messages. What have people wondered about me in the past half an hour that I've been commentating over fake F1 cars going around in circles? Well, let's run you through today's grid. It's gonna be Joe on pole position after absolutely a mega lap. 130.512 is one of the best pole laps we have seen in FQ, and he probably had more in the tank, but it did start raining and it did lower the grip. Then in P2 we have Mew, about actually almost exactly half a tenth off. Then it's Sammy in P3 and Jerome in P4. The usual suspects, I would say, in this championship fight start in the top 4. Then it's Wacky Lauda in 5th for Alpine as well. Get Valkyrie in 6th, Cornish Mantis 7th, Stevie on his return starts 8th, Simi right behind him in 9th, Dablo starts 10th, for McLaren, Swampmouth 11th, Ekoi in 12th, Rabzog and Nick Fuhrman start on the same row with 13th and 14th, and then it's Big Boris and All Day to round off the grid. And now it's impossible to predict anyone else for the win today than Joe. That was absolute dominance. And if anyone in chat has some pre-race predictions, feel free to put them in. We are going to be sitting on the grid for a while, as we usually are. Dablo with some problems on his second run. We had rain in qualifying. It doesn't look like we'll have rain in the race, although it can always go from dry to wet. You never know. Lap 1 crash incoming, thinks Harrison. It's China, so it wouldn't be at all... it wouldn't be unprecedented at all. A few glitches in the game, apparently. Apparently someone needs an invite Rabzog, that is. I can invite Rabzog, yeah, that's fine. Cloudy at the end of the race. Okay, so no rain expected so far, but if there is some safety cars or virtual safety cars towards the end of the Grand Prix, there might very well be some rain on the way. So Rabzog leaves the session like he said. Well, he can't now take control of the car until lights out, so leaving the session is definitely not smart. But really not my problem. Hello in chat to Wacky Loud as well. Good to see you racing again, man. Good lap from you in qualifying as well. Very excited to see what you can do in the race. After the top 4, it's definitely a free game for anyone to be up there, and as well as the top 4. They can have some collisions, as we saw in Abu Dhabi. There can be collisions and mistakes. They are not all robots, incredibly. Except for Joe, we haven't checked him yet. He hasn't made a single mistake so far. Everyone else has made some mistakes throughout the season, so that I can say quite confidently that they are not AI. Right. More invites to Rabzog. What the fuck is he? He's not on there. There we go. Righty ho then. Rabzog back in, and I believe I would believe at this point we have the 30-second countdown going. Dablo fans in the chat rooting for Dablo. Definitely some fan favorites among the grid and some not so fan favorites. But obviously I am impartial to anyone on the grid winning. Except for Nick. If Nick wins, I'll be that little bit happier than anyone else. Or Simi. But it won't shine through in my commentary, I promise. Still waiting for players then, so I assume no one's pressed the ready up early, which is very nice. You know, usually a big problem with these races, that people are ready up too early, but not this time. As we look to probably get underway soon. I want to go get a drink from the fridge, but I know as soon as I do, the race is gonna start, so I'm not gonna do that. I've got one drink with me, but it's a monster, so it's gonna. Yeah, I was gonna say. All right, here we are then. Formation lap underway for the Chinese Grand Prix. We are going to be looking at different tires for the top three. It's going to be Joe on softs, Mew on mediums, and Sammy on hards. We've seen Sammy run these hards before in Canada and in Abu Dhabi, and it worked for him in both occasions. He did stay with the top three in Abu Dhabi until his mistake, so... and in Canada he got that bullshit drive-through, which ruined his race. But Joe on the softs, I believe, is... very, very interesting. I wonder if he's going for the two-stop around this track then. The new tires definitely a lot more advantageous on F123 than they are on F124. And yeah, otherwise it's mediums for P5, P4 to P6. Then it's Cornish Mantis on hard, Stevie, Simi and Dablo all on mediums. Swampmouth being the only other driver to take the softs, as Ekoi and Rabzog both have Tauris going on to the medium tire. Nick Fuhrman starting on hards as well, he'll be looking to go long into the race. And Boris and Alday also start on the mediums. So mediums, the most popular choice. Hards and softs runners may be looking to offset the strategy and get a little bit lucky here today. Yeah, we'll just wait for them to get done with the formation lap. Obviously not much weaving going on from these guys, because they don't need to weave, they can brake drag to get the tires up to temperature on this game. A little bit of weaving in the back from Wacky Louder there, but nothing too excessive. We don't see everybody weaving like we would on F124. And here it's just driving in a straight line, driving a little bit slower, applying your throttle and your brakes at the same time to warm up your tires. As we now head into the final two corners on this formation lap, and Joe is definitely going to want to lead into turn one. His strategy here should be to just run away as far as he can on the first stint, then go on to another tire, run away again, and then possibly do a third stint on a third set of tires. Mew and Sammy and Jerome, I would believe, are going for the one stop, as is anyone else not on the soft competitor tires. I don't know if you can do the one stop from the softs. You probably can, but I would believe that's disadvantageous. Everyone lining up on the grid now. Boris getting disqualified from the session. That just means he missed the spit box. Nothing too serious there. And here we go then. We are going to get the lights probably soon enough. Here we go. 2 lights, 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights are up. And it's lights out, and it's go, go, go here in China. Joe gets away well. That's exactly what he needed to do on those soft compound tires. Mew staying in second place. Sammy, is he going to go around the outside of the Williams? No, not quite. And it looks like everyone's gotten away nicely. Let's get Valkyried round onto the grass stand. There's a bit of front wing flying around there. I don't know what car that's from, but that's perfect for Joe. He gets away well. And here we go then. Into the first sector split, as Sammy on those hards is going to be vulnerable to Jerome for a little bit, as the two Alpha Tauris side by side. Rabzog going in very deep, and the eco's round. Get Valkyrie, taps ecoing, eco is round, and we will need to be looking at who is going to have a missing front wing, and there is a missing front wing on the Mercedes of Nick Fuhrman. His race has started horribly here today, absolutely horribly. Someone else might have some damage as well. Stevie does have some damage. He's missing a front wing and play, and that is not what you want to see. Mostly because it's more work for me to write the tickets that Stevie's gonna do. Well, as we now head down the back straight, Joe with a 1.3 second lead already. He's absolutely dominating. Jerome Hodgson in the Red Bull gonna go for the move on the Alpine of Sammy. On the medium tires, he should have every advantage in the book, but Sammy staying with him into the final corner. Final two corners into turn 14. Jerome Bakes later around the outside goes the Red Bull. What a move. That is incredible. And Wacky Lauda might be looking for a move on his teammate now as well. As Jerome Hudson goes very wide in the final corner. That's incredibly wide. And that's not what you want to see, because now Sammy has gone back for him. Might go back for it in turn 1. Not quite. Decides to stay behind for now. Might sneak it down the inside here, Sammy. This is going to be brave. Two cars usually don't go too wide there. Sammy backs out. Not quite what he would have wanted there, but does lose the place eventually to Jerome Hudson. Swampmouth on the softs making up positions. Let's just see who has made up the most positions so far. It's going to be Swampmouth making up 4 places. Big Boris also making up 4. And Get Valkyrie losing 4 places there at the start with a horrible start. And Stevie, Nick and Rabzog all in for front wing changes after lap 1. So here we are then. Mew already 2 seconds behind the race leader, but over a second behind in front of Jerome Hudson. Now that's going to be crucial, and Jerome will want to be over a second in front of Sammy Jote, because one thing you do not want to see in your mirrors is a hungry Sammy Jote, because he will get past you, and he's looking to get past Jerome here. That's the worst camera angle I've ever seen. Here are the possible race strategies: a 2-stop or a 1-stop possible, powered by AWS. Sammy Jote now goes for the move. He's side by side with Jerome Hudson into the final corner. Jerome outbrakes him a little bit, but down the inside goes Sammy Jote. Jerome gets the better exit, but they're still side by side in the fast corner. Jerome backs out of it, knows better than to do that, and now DRS will be enabled, so these two will keep fighting, and will keep fighting immediately. Down the main straight goes Jerome. They're side by side in turn 1. As they sweep across, Jerome is ahead, but Sammy's got that inside line into turn 2. And they are going to make it, and they are going to make it fine, and this is great racing from the pair of them. And Jerome does stay ahead for now, but now DRS will be enabled, remember. So everything is now up for grabs. Sammy down the inside! That's a... Oh, that is a wild move, and Jerome has to go off the track. He was forced off the track by Sammy, and Sammy has got his elbows out now, and will be ahead going into the back straight. I don't know how legal that move is. Will be decided in the stewards room later if it does get reported. But that is not my job to speculate about this now. Swampmouth also very, very impressive on this train that's led by Sammy Jote right now. Mew is out of DRS range. Sammy, Jerome, Wacky, Cornish, Swampmouth, Dablo even getting onto that train, and this train will be crucial for the podium positions of this race. It looks like the top 2 have already checked out, and this is a nice camera angle for once. We're gonna get the view of Jerome Hudson closing in on Sammy Jote with DRS this time, and will be past him going into turn 14. As Wacky Lauda just forced to watch, not quite having enough pace to be close enough to challenge these two. As Sammy, he had a little look into the final corner. That would have never worked out, but now he'll have DRS going onto the main straight. And now the Alpine might just look for the move back on him. Meanwhile, in the background, Swampmouth and Cornish Mantis going for it. Oh, Sammy down the inside, thought about it for a second, didn't make the move. Cornish Mantis on Swampmouth here as the two go side by side in turn 1 and 2. Not quite this time, and Jerome now leads from Sammy, and Sammy needs to stay within the DRS to keep this train going and to keep his fight for the podium place going here. He is going to be on the hard component tires. Every lap that he stays with Jerome here is going to be advantageous. Joe already 4 seconds in the lead. He's absolutely clocked out and he's doing exactly what he needs. He's justifying the soft start by getting ahead. Getting so far ahead indeed. Oh, as we cut back right to Sammy, hitting Jerome in the back, and that might be detrimental for the race of the Alpine because he's now out of DRS. He's over a second behind. We don't see any visible damage, but that could be from wing damage for the Alpine, and he's now over a second behind the Red Bull, and now he's going to be attacked by his teammate and Cornish Mantis. That is a detrimental mistake from Sammy, as now Wacky Lauda will line up the overtake on his teammate. He can't not do it because Cornish Mantis will be right behind him. He's not deploying his ERS. Cornish Mantis not deploying his ERS on the hard component tires. Cornish Mantis looking to go around the outside of Wacky Lauda. They go side by side. There's a little bit of contact made there, but not too much to cause any problems. They're still side by side in the final corner. Cornish Mantis makes the move, but what a switchback by Wacky Lauda. That is absolutely textbook. And this racing is impeccable, as Cornish Mantis now around the outside of Wacky Lauda makes the move into turn 1. Wacky Lauda will have the inside line here, but it will end with Cornish Mantis having the inside line. He's going to make the move. And what beautiful racing by the McLaren and the Alpine. And Swampmouth still in the strain. To his credit, is still in the strain. Simi running in P10, 5.7 seconds ahead of the AlphaTauri, of Ekoi. And now slowly getting into DRS of Get Valkyried as well. So that could be another fight brewing on this in this train, as now Sammy is the one leading the train. Jerome is 1.9 seconds ahead as Cornish Mantis looking for the move in Sector 2. Oh my goodness, as Sammy goes a little bit wide there. Wacky Lauda, ooh, big snap for Wacky Lauda there. And these guys pushing each other along in this Sector 2. And Cornish Mantis knowing he can't go for the overtaking now. Now the DRS detection point is here. Sammy will not have DRS. Cornish will have DRS down this back straight. And now he can go for the move. He's going to be deploying his ERS down this back straight to make the move on the Alpine. Sammy knows this is inevitable. Going down the inside goes Cornish Mantis and the McLaren up into P4. As they still are side by side through turn 14. But Sammy gets forced off, and Cornish with his elbows out does get the move. And Sammy enters the pit lane, so he must have front wing damage. And he has to convert this now into a 2-stop. And the disappointing season that the Frenchman has been having continues. Meanwhile, down the field we have Nick Freeman and Stevie Max side by side. Not good friends, these two, off track, but on track I know there's gonna be no space left on there. No extra space anyway. It's gonna be that as little space as you can possibly get away with. Two very, very good friends, teammates in Season 2 at Alpine, now looking to battle it out here in China, while both of them have pivoted for the new tires and a new front wing as well. Sammy onto the medium tires, going 14 laps on those will be a challenge, but a safety car will bring him right back into this fight. And Cornish Mantis now leading the train of Wacky Lauda and Swampmouth, and I think Wacky's gone a little bit deep there. He will have DRS, but he's gone a little bit deep, which will allow Cornish to have a little bit of breathing room down this back straight, and I don't think there's going to be a move on this lap, although the Alpine is closing in very, very fast. And look at that, the power of DRS on this circuit. From 9/10ths back, Wacky Lauda makes the move into the final corner, or turn 14, sorry, not the final corner, and will lead the two for now and be in P4. But Cornish Mantis now looking to get it back on the main straight, on those hard component tires. He's going to be a little bit of a grip disadvantage so far, but will make the move stick even before the braking zone because the DRS is so powerful around here. Lap 6 then. The softs of Joe do not seem to be dropping away at all. 7 seconds at the top as Stevie and Nick keep battling it out. This is very, very lovely racing from the two. Oh, Stevie gets a big snap. And Nick now looking for the move on the main straight. He will have DRS and the better tires. DRS enabled now for the Mercedes as he heads down into turn 1. Mercedes versus Mercedes power, as Nick chooses to stay behind for this occasion. Swampmouth dropping behind that second from Cornish and Wacky, so maybe those softs just having a little bit of problems. You know, containing themselves. Scope apparently messaging me again about my weekly highlight, even though it literally did that a few seconds ago. And Wacky Louder then. Again, behind Cornish Mantis. There's a yellow flag. That looks like Sammy. That's Sammy. He's round in sector 2, and that's a disaster for the Alpine as he gets back on the racing line and right into the middle. Sorry. Right into the middle of the Stevie and Nick battle. But meanwhile at the front, it's Wacky Lauda who does get back past Cornish, back into P4 of this race. But Cornish looking for the move on this main straight once again. This time deploying his CRS. Probably not going to be close enough to make that move on this occasion. So Wacky Lauda's going to lead them around for a lap. And Swampmouth in P6 at the moment, doing a very good job on those soft compound tires. And Joe still absolutely smashing everyone at the front. Simi closing up the Dablo here in the McLaren as Simi's driving that Ferrari, and only a few seconds off a P6 here is Simi. So if things do go well here, in the Ferrari might be up for higher points paying positions. This is the part of the race where I would say the soft compound tires will become the worst racing tire. But look at Joe and Mew. The gap has grown by 0.5 of a second since I last mentioned it at the start of this lap. Joe is absolutely sending it down. He's absolutely cooking. Cornish Mantis then looking for the move on back on the Wacky Lauda and the Alpine. They're 3.7 seconds off the podium position, so there is no working together. There is no friendship here. It's going to be Cornish Mantis on Wacky Lauda down the back straight. No doing for the McLaren there. Not quite enough front straight line speed as the Alpine does stay in front, but Cornish will not be making that move down the main straight, and we are nearing the halfway point of the Grand Prix. So anyone who's on the soft compound tires will want to be pitting soon enough, considering the mediums will go to the end of the race from here, as the hards will go easily to the end of the race from here. As a Cornish Mantis not quite close enough to make the move on Wacky, as Simi basically pushing the McLaren along there in sector 2. And just maybe being held up a little bit here is Simi. Dablo in front in the McLaren, just a little bit slower than the Ferrari. McLaren and Ferrari, obviously a historic battle. Today the McLaren was quite simply the easiest, the better car. But here all cars are equal and all drivers are not. As we can see by the 8-second gap created by Joe to Mew. 8.7 the gap is now, 8.5 the last time we mentioned it, so still growing. But I would expect Joe to come into the pits at the end of this lap then, to do 11 laps on those mediums to end the race, as no, he keeps going. He says, you know what, I'm growing the gap. Why not go more? And you're absolutely right then. There's no point in pitting at this point in time, as Simi gets past Dablo into turn 14. Dablo will be looking to get that back almost immediately. Simi's gone a little bit deep, and Dablo now side by side with a Ferrari into the final corner. Usually it's the guy on the inside here that takes it, and it is. Simi takes the position, and Dablo now down the main straight might be looking to take it back, but not quite. Doesn't quite have enough, and no ERS either for the for the McLaren. Yeah, Swampmouth into the pits, Ekoi into the pits from the soft compound tires. He's gonna go, or from the medium. Sorry, is he gonna go on the softs to the end of the race from here? It's gonna be the hard tires for Ekoi then, and As Nick is now in for a second stop. Stevie does get out in front of Ecoy quite easily. So Stevie, if he gets those tires to the end, might be looking at a decent result here. But that is a big if, because those tires will be screaming out towards the end of the Grand Prix. Joe still 9.5. He's growing the gap by almost a second per lap on this race, and there's a safety car now. What's happened? Oh, there's Alfa Romeo without a front wing. Get Valkyrie. There's a full safety car. Now Joe has absolutely nailed it, not going in the last lap, and he's gonna go in this lap. And this swamp mouth, I do feel for you. Pitting one lap before a safety car. Joe into the pits, and everyone who's not pitted will be in to the pits at the end of this lap. Mew in, Jerome in, Wacky, Corny, everyone will be into the pits at the end of this lap. There's no alternative here. And yeah, this now. Oh, Jerome Hodgson, 5-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane. That's massive. That's gonna change the whole complexion of this race, because Simmons nearly stacked it into the pit wall. Holy, that was very close. Okay, Joe is now going to be at a disadvantage on the tires for a few laps, but towards the end of this race, you would believe that those mediums are going to be the better race tire. Get Valkyrie on the hard component tires. He's going to have a front wing change there, as well as Dablo into the pits as well. We're serving his time penalty, is he? I don't know actually why he was held up there. Maybe serving a time penalty, maybe not. Sammy again brought back into this race via the safety car onto a new set of mediums. Saving 2 sets of mediums for the race, so he will have another set to put on. Will be out in P13, but we know Sammy. We know how quick he is, and as long as he doesn't rush anything, he could very well be in contention for a podium here. Doing the safety car. If anyone has anything to say in the chat, please do so I can read it and maybe get some, maybe figure out some conversations here. Lap 11 out of 20. We are going to have 8 laps, I believe, of racing action. If the safety car goes in at the end of the next lap. Checking my phone for new messages. I'm very important. People reach out to me all the time. I'm not. I'm lying and I'm coping. Anyway. Lap 12 out of 2010. We will have 8 laps of racing action, considering the safety car will almost certainly be in at the end of this lap. Everyone will catch it up. Rapzog, the last one in the queue, but probably will be close enough at the end of the lap to catch up. He's already in turn 1. So safety car will be in at the end of this lap. And interesting to see where Joe decides to go, because he needs to hold the position here, and he needs to drop people out of his DRS, because otherwise those soft runners are going to be quicker than him. Although he's shown absolute pace here today, so I don't know if there's anyone catching him at this rate. Safety car will be in at the end of this lap, and showing green flags for me, which is definitely, it's not green flags. But that's what it's showing, and Joe doing the normal Joe, and going very, very slow on a restart. He's allowed to do this, although people do complain quite a lot about the slow restarts, but he's completely within his rights to do this. And so we are probably about another minute away from restarting here, because this is going to be the pace all the way down this long back straight, unless Joe decides to go early, which I don't think he will, because the long back straight means that there's going to be a lot of slipstream for the guys behind. But everyone should be aware of how to drive on the safety car. That's what you should be aware about. No matter when you race or where you race, or what level you race at. That's the one thing that I hated the most when I started league racing back in F1 2021. I hated safety cars the most because I was so scared I was gonna hit into someone. But nowadays it's just fine for me, as Joe has gone. He's gone at the end of the straight, so this is exactly what I thought he would do. He's giving himself the most corners to pull off a second gap, and he's already almost a second ahead. Mew cannot let this happen. He cannot let Joe get a second ahead, and he will need to deploy his ERS like crazy. As here we go then. Boris gets a 3-second time penalty for multiple track limit warnings. No one close enough to make moves just yet, but another person, the person we need to be watching out for is Steve. Oh, I was gonna say Sammy Joe, but Steve is going for the move, so maybe it's gonna be Stevie that we're all gonna have to watch out for as he taps Sammy. It's not gone well for the Frenchman, as Stevie does hit him with a bit of contact, and now Sammy back into the pack of Stevie, Nick and Rab, as Sammy's gonna go down the inside of Nick. Nick is not gonna leave that one easily. Oh, Sammy with the elbows out, getting Nick off track as well, and we'll get back up into P14, sorry, and we'll not be overly happy with Stevie right now. We'll probably try to go for the move on Stevie as early as he possibly can. And Joe now 8/10 ahead, and we'll need more than that. He's not deploying his DRS at all, and Mew is staying within a second. DRS will be enabled on lap 15 because it's the wrong game for it to be enabled this lap. And Sammy now looking for the move on Stevie, and I believe he will make the move, or he will at least try the move. No, he's not. Well, never mind. But the person who might make the move is Nick on Sammy. Round the outside into turn 14. This is going to be brave for the Mercedes. Oh, a little bit of contact there between all three of them, and Nick stays with him all the way into the final corner, and has forced himself a little bit wide there, has Nicholas Fuhrman, and we just stay there, and Rab Zorg now going past Sammy, and Sammy not having a good time at all, and Mew and Joe now breaking away from the DRS of Jerome, so could be that battle for the win here, but we're going to follow along this battle for now, as Sammy does get back up in the P14 and needs to start making these moves, because now he's outside DRS of Stevie, and he needs to absolutely drive so fast right now to get back up into good points. Simi and get well carried very close there. The camera got away just at the right moment. I thought there was going to be contact there between the two, but Simi down in P7 now, looking to make the move back on Wild Carried, who's on the hard component tires. Mew has stayed within that second of Joe, so now it'll be all about can he make the move for the lead of the Grand Prix. Wacky Lauda staying within a second of Jerome Hudson, and remember, Jerome Hudson has 5 seconds worth of time penalties. That is not going to be minor, as Sammy Joe now. You don't usually see a pass around there. You do now, as he gets past all day. And wow, what a move. And now it's the 2 Aston Martins in front of it. It's going to be Stevie and Boris. Still to go for Sammy. Oh, looks for the move. Just a little bit too far back. And DRS enabled now. For the rest of the Grand Prix, Mew will need to stay within that second until the sector 3 of this lap. And Sammy now very close to Stevie, might be making the move here, and not quite close enough probably. As Nick and Rab going side by side in turn 1. This could be interesting. The Mercedes just trying to hang it around the outside, and that's not going to work in China. And then just into turn 2, Nick will stay behind. I don't know what it is about the worst possible camera angles we get on this game, but Joe, crucially, breaking outside of that 1 second from Mew. Now using his ERS. He has very little ERS left, so if this fails, he will be in trouble. But gap 1.1 now. What is Mew's ERS looking like? Almost no ERS for Mew there. And he's gonna be... Is he going to be over a second? Yes, it is. So Joe has saved himself from DRS from Mew. But both of them have pulled almost 2.9 seconds to Jerome Hudson, who's in third. So Mew will be looking for a nailed on P2 here, unless Joe makes a little mistake, which we haven't seen him do too often. Here goes Wacky Lauda on Jerome Hudson, the Alpine on the Mercedes. Sammy getting past Stevie Mac in the background, as around the outside. Tries to stay with Jerome Hudson. Wacky Lauda up into the podium playing positions, but this fight between Stevie, Boris, and Sammy, they're gonna go 3 wide in the chicane all day. Or in the turn 14, and Sammy is the one on the inside, and Sammy's the one gaining all of those positions back. So well done for the Frenchman right there. And now the two Aston Martins are going to be looking to go back at him, as Stevie now down the main straight will have DRS, will have a lot of straight line speed, is forced to go around the outside of the Alpine, and it does cut in front. But Sammy back down his inside, and this is going to be interesting. Ooh, they touch a little bit there. Lucky not to get netcode glued together. And Sammy does stay in front, and that's exactly what he needs to do. Jerome struggling for pace here. Struggling to keep up with Wacky Lauda, who's on the podium right now. And to get Valkyrie is chasing down Simi, who's in P6, Dablo, Swampmouth, Dablo and Swampmouth in that train as well. Oh, get Valkyrie, that's risky. That's risky through sector 2. Simi has to back out of it. And get Valkyrie does get back. P6, Dablo picks up a 3-second penalty for multiple track limit violations. Simi will now have DRS for get Valkyrie, so he will be hoping to get back that position. He's over a second behind now, but he was under a second at the dissection zone. Dablo might be looking for a move on him though. It's Ferrari versus McLaren versus Ferrari today. Earlier on, it was an easy pass for the McLaren. Whoa, what's going on here? Wacky Laudas has gone round. I think he's hit Jerome. I think they've made contact a little bit there. As Cornish Mantis is now up into the podium positions. I have completely missed that, looking at the fight between Swampmouth, Dablo, and Get Valkyrie. As Sim is down in P9 now. Got overtaken by both people, and Sammy very, very wide into the final corner and looking to get into P10 and into the points playing positions. As here goes Sammy down the inside of Ecoy to do very, very close together, and Sammy does make that move stick already into turn 2, so not too much hustle. But this fight for the last podium place, Wacky Lauda against Cornish Mantis, will be incredibly interesting. Another thing will be interesting to see is how far Sammy can get up the field. Simi now struggling a little bit. They've led Get Valkyrie, get out of this DRS train, Swampmouth, Dablo, and Simi. So that's a little bit unfortunate for those three. Wacky Lauda with a massive snap there. I don't know how it's called that. I was just about to take a sip of my drink, and that's happened. That is... Oh, Swampmouth. Round. In Sector 3, and... Sector 2, sorry. And down into P12. And that's given Simi now P7. I think Dablo and Swampmouth must have made some contact, because now Simi 1.7 seconds up the road. But this fight for P3, Wacky Lauda closing in on the McLaren of Cornish Mantis. By the way, I don't know who holds the fastest lap at the moment, but if it is Joe who holds the fastest lap at the moment, this is on track to be a Grand Slam. And I don't know if that would be the first in FQ's history, but it would definitely be a very, very interesting scenario. Ecoy's out of the race now. He's looked to have hit the left side of the pit wall. No safety car out. It cannot be a safety car this late. Joe leading by 5.2. Wacky Lauda then, looking to get this final podium position for Alpine. His teammate down in P8, but gaining. And it's raining on track. It's raining on track. There is some spots of rain now, and this could make it incredibly interesting if it does start dropping rain more. It's raining. It's not raining hard, but it's definitely raining. It's very, very clearly raining. Becoming hard for the drivers to put the power down now. And with 2 laps of racing action to go, if it does start raining hard, do you go for the inters? Do you stay out on the slicks? That is a question everyone will be asking themselves. If DRS gets disabled, what then? Wacky Loud doesn't care because DRS is enabled right now. And he's going to go for the move into turn 14, and he's going to have the move done before the braking zone of turn 14. As Sammy and Simi are very close to each other. Sammy and Simi. That sounds like a cruel team, man. Sammy just about over a second behind, running high downforce here. You can see Simi pulling away even when Sammy has DRS. Oh, Simi with a big snap though. Coming out of turn 14, Sammy with a bigger one. And look at how hard it's raining. Look at how hard it is for the drivers now to keep it on the track. This could be an absolutely incredible ending, as now everyone's going to be struggling on their slick tires. And this, Stevie's in. Stevie's in. Is this for Inters for Stevie? Is he going to go for the gamble from P10 to go for Inters to the last 2 laps of this race? It looks incredibly hard to drive.
Disconnected.
And this has to be for the Inters. This is for the Inters. Steve is in for the Inters. And who is joining the Discord? What? I'm so confused. Okay. Apparently no one joined the Discord. Apparently my Discord is just bugging. But look at how hard it is. Look at how wet it is. It's Inters. It's Inter conditions, but there's 1 more lap to go. Surely you don't take that risk. Stevie's taking that risk because he has 2 laps to go, but he needs to drive it like an absolute maniac now. He's a pit stop behind, but he's already gaining. Look at how much he's gaining. 9.9 seconds to all day now. 9.8, 9.7. He's gaining so much. If it starts raining, if it keeps this rain up, it could even be worth the box for Inters. Joe, what call is he going to make? Is he going to stay out or is he going to box? Mew could do the absolute opposite here and play this smart game. As DRS gets disabled, it's intermediate conditions. Joe stays out, but Mew could take the gamble to box. Wacky Loud and Cornish Mantis crawling through that turn 14 to make their way onto the final lap of the Grand Prix. No one's going in. It's not worth it for now. It's not worth it for them, but it was worth it for Stevie Mac, who now needs to put his foot down because he's going to be the fastest out there by a long shot. Look at how hard it is for Joe. And it is very, very difficult to drive there. And Stevie closing in 3.8 the gap. He needs to drive it like a maniac. He could maybe get P7 in this race if he does manage everything perfectly. And look at how slow everyone is on the minimap. 3-second time penalty for Rapso for multiple track limit violations. Joe absolutely still dominating. 9.6 seconds to Mew. But look at how hard that Mercedes looks to drive. Look at how hard it's to drive. And Cornish Mantis and Wacky Loud are still side by side for this final podium position. And now Stevie already caught up to the back of All Day. Needs to make this move and needs to make the move now. He's gonna go down the inside. Look at how easy that is. And that's a beautiful call from Stevie Mac to go on the intermediates. He could be as far up as P7 in this race. He makes the move. Look at that. Stevie Mac, absolute brilliance on the intermediate compound tires. Joe, though, still absolutely dominant. Absolutely dominating everybody. 11 seconds now. Mew struggling hard in these conditions as Cornish and Wacky still battle for the final podium position. Look at how slow everyone is on the minimap compared to Stevie Mac. That's a beautiful call for the intermediate tires for Stevie. Wacky Lauda now looks to get back past Cornish Mantis for the final podium position. This is going to be an incredibly difficult overtake to make in these conditions. He's deploying all of his ERS, so is Cornish. Cornish looks to be staying ahead. Wacky needs to be braver on the brakes, doesn't make the dive bomb. But Cornish is wide in the final corner. Cornish is very, very wide in turn 14. And Wacky Lauda might just take it. Joe wins the race. I'm sorry, I'm missing that. But this battle for P3. Wacky gets whacked off the track. And now, looks to be Cornish's. But anything can happen in this final corner. Wacky has got a 3-second time penalty for track limits as they head down to the line. And it's going to be Cornish Mantis for the penalty. And he's going to take P3. Sammy and Simi, look at that. It's impossible to drive that thing. Stevie might just look to get the point back that he pitted from P10. And maybe, just maybe, if there was another lap, he could do a little bit more. Sammy finishes P7. Simi comes home in P8. Dablo down in P9. But Stevie, good call on the Inters. Not quite worth it at the end. P10 for him. and with penalties gets dropped down into P11 sadly for for Stevie. Joe wins an absolute stormer of a race. That is absolutely incredible from Joe. Absolute dominance, and just no words. Just incredible driving from Joe, and Mew in P2 as well. Cornish Mantis in the end takes third place. Right, okay. Having a slightly
User entered your channel.
fuck off from this channel. Wait, hold on. Hold on. Alright, we're back. I think. Wait, hold on.
User disconnected from your channel.
Wait, did everyone just hear me fucking swear at me? I definitely didn't mean to do that. That is incredible.
You entered your channel.
Fuck off from this channel. I didn't know. I didn't know it was live. I fucking crashed. My thing crashed. I didn't know it was live when I was cursing at Mew. That's my bad. Sorry. Whoopa. Oh man. Okay. I am incredibly sweaty from that. Now we'll just need to. Right. I need to play the national anthem of whatever. You're right. FQ anthem, Div 1. Joe. Okay. Here is the national anthem of our winner. Right, that is the national anthem of our winner Joe. First time this season he has one. And now we will go down to the podium interviews, as we usually do.
User entered your channel.
Hello, gentlemen and gentle cat. So that was quite a chaotic race, as
A bit boring though, wasn't it?
it wasn't boring in the midfield. I don't think. I don't think you were watching the same race as I was. You were in P3
Well, yeah, I
quite
was
easily.
between racing.
Yeah. But yeah, we're gonna start off with P3, man. Today, Cornish Mantis. Incredible drive. I was watching your overtakes and your battles throughout. How was that race feeling for you? And definitely those last few laps, they did not look fun to drive.
Well, yeah. I mean, you hit the nail on the spot there. I mean, the safety car kind of stirred up my plans a little bit, but not by too much. I was sort of the only one on mediums around me, and everyone sort of went to softs, so I was kind of worried. But in the end, that rain ended up being problematic for everyone, no matter what tire you were on. But I also got quite lucky because there was an incident ahead of me between two cars, so that was 2, 3 overtakes in like the last 5 laps, 6 laps. So I got kind of lucky to be here, kind of happy because I did a bit of preparation for it, so I had to come away with a podium at the very least, points.
Yeah, it's very good points. 15 points in the bag. Very, very impressive drive, as I said, and those final laps with Wacky, especially when it was raining, that was incredible racing for the two of you. A little bit of touch and go here and there, but it was incredibly wet.
I'm surprised we managed to keep it as clean as we did, but yeah, it was a lot of fun to have a battle on the last 2 laps.
Yeah, and before that as well, when you were making your way through the grid, I think.
Yeah, he kept staying with me that whole race, really. It was a pain.
Yeah, it was incredible to watch you race today, and very, very deserved P3, and also driver of the day today.
Yeah, thank you very much.
For you. So, congratulations once more, and hope to see you here next week as well. Then, P2 man today, Mew. Didn't look like you were challenging for the win, really, at any point today. I do hate to say it, but there was also
I
a
don't
man.
think the track suited me at all. It's I think the biggest parts of this track are my biggest weakness, and I think these weaknesses are exactly Joe's biggest strength. He's always been good on like tight technical corners with a lot of traction zones, and and this is my biggest struggle. So
yeah. Also, in those last few laps when it was absolutely chucking it down, did you think to go to the Inter at all? Did it cross your mind at any point?
yeah, but I thought that it's not gonna get wet enough because of the telemetry that showed it did get wet enough, but only on the last lap, so I don't think it would have been enough anyway to even go back to where I was.
Stevie did pit for the Inters and did 2 laps on the Inters, and he got back to where he was at the end. So he didn't actually gain anything from the Inters, but was so much faster than everyone else on that last lap. And on those last few laps as well, yourself, you lost quite a bit of time to Joe there. I know you're not the biggest fan of rain and changeable conditions, so...
Honestly, I was mostly saving fuel and trying to survive. I wasn't like pushing. I was negative on fuel with like 4 laps to go, and
the rain was good for you then.
People fighting behind. Yeah, it kind of saved me, especially with the chaos behind me.
Yeah, exactly. Well done for P2 and the fastest lap. If you didn't get if Joe took fastest lap, he would have had a grand slam there, but. He didn't.
Yeah, I'm evil.
Yeah, you've stolen his grand slam. Well done. How do you feel?
Sad. Because I didn't win.
Yeah. I mean, congrats on a well-earned P2, a good drive today. Just beaten.
Kind of no man's land.
Just beaten by 1 man. Otherwise, completely in the clear. Congratulations, and hope to see you here next week as well. And obviously we will be hearing from you in about 45 minutes as the 24 race kicks off. Then
you better score a podium this time.
Look, I prefer not to speak. Joe, our race winner, and I must say, absolutely dominant today.
Hello, yeah, it's quite good, wasn't it?
Yep. Quite good, he says, while absolutely blitzing the field.
I mean, quality was a bit meh. There were
Which
about
you-
2/10 in the lap.
Oh my
I made a mistake on my fastest lap. I made a big mistake in sector 3. Probably lost a tenth. And there was half a tenth to find in 1 and 2 from just small little I don't know, bad, not good. I don't know. Time to find an evolution. But I wanted to save 2 set of softs for the race just in case. So my last lap was on used because why not funsies? And I managed to get purple in sector 3. That's how rubbish
Yeah.
the sector 3 was on the lap before. Then a race was a race. Safety car was a bit annoying, but I'm glad I didn't pit on lap 9 like I should have. And I was like, yeah, let's just keep going. Why not? Because otherwise I might have been pipped by Mew in the pit stop sequence, thanks to lovely safety cars.
Safety car, well timed for you. Not incredible, obviously, but if you had pitted a lap before, it would have been horrible for you. Was there what was the plan? Was it always to go to lap 10, or was there a world in where you could have pit a lap before the safety car came out?
I was supposed to go in at 9, but I was still gaining time, so I was like, why not? Let's just keep going. I'm having a great time. And safety cars tend to happen. I mean, I'm surprised it didn't happen like around lap 7 time. That's normally when the tires start digging off and people make mistakes. So I'm surprised that it wasn't around there. But I was like, maybe some people are, having a bit of fun with tires right now. I'll just like give it another lap, just have fun. So I was like, I'll just stick it out. Why not? It turned out to be a good decision given the fact that safety car came out. So yeah, sadly I can get fastest lap though. Mew put in a very good lap. I assume draining the entirety of the battery, which
No, only half.
oh, only half. Oh,
Yeah. I think
did you have
the tire
slipstream?
dropped off.
Or
I think the tire dropped off after
the
that
soft
lap.
decked hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, I used I don't know, like a third on 2 of my laps, and then that was a big mistake. I should have just firmed it with like most of the battery. So that was probably a lost point there, which was a bit silly, but I've still got some other ones. That was good.
Some
And
other
then-
ones. Almost
yeah.
25.
Yeah.
At the end of the race, when it was starting to rain, you were leading, so obviously you were kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't. So was there ever a world where you pit for Inters, or was it always to stay out?
If the rain started 2 laps earlier, I think the idea of an inter would have been very good. By the end, we were 20 seconds off our dry times, which is quite significant. So pitting for an inter probably would have gotten you 10 seconds a faster lap, which is pretty good, but obviously we only had 1 lap left, so it would have been a really, really silly thing to do in that position, and I could kind of react a bit more to the drivers behind, but there was, when as soon as we had like lap 19, lap 20, it was you can't really pit in this situation. But it was very heavy, the rain. I think it was probably like the heavy, like full wet kind of rain because it came down quick. It wasn't like Inter's grade. So it did make it very treacherous. It was quite fun to drive. Yeah, I don't know. I went wide on the last corner, which was a bit sad. Yeah, it was a bit silly. And I had a snap of oversteer in the second to last corner.
Yeah.
On that last lap as well. It was treacherous.
I think I'm the only one who made the last turn, honestly, looking from the replays.
There was quite a lot of people going off the track, and I do have to apologize to you, Joe. I completely missed you crossing the line. Yes, there was a slightly interesting battle for P3 happening behind you. So,
don't want to talk about it because I completely missed that last turn as well. Like, really missed it.
Yeah, sorry guys.
I'm sure I had a really interesting race to watch, to be honest.
Yeah.
I'm sure it was like, very providing great content and all that. Really, really interesting to watch.
Man's battle for the lead.
You guys had really good pace today.
Yeah,
It's very
incredible
difficult to
pace
keep
on
up.
incredible pace on top too. Overall, a very exciting race to watch. Definitely the rain gave it another step. But yeah, thanks guys for that, and thank you everyone for watching. And we will see you in 45 minutes or 35 minutes actually for the 24 division. You will hear me in a week for another race in the 23 division because I am not getting a podium. Anyway, Hope you enjoyed.
You,
and,
you are.
I'll
Would
see you
believe
next
you.
week.